007.
It's your man Dame DNYDC sitting here with my brother Sam. We a man short because he's actually in travels, but it's a Tuesday night, and as I just saw his post, I think he's made it safely in Vegas. Shout out to Cliff, man. We miss you. Hope you have a successful event on this St. Patty's Day Tuesday. Sam and I here, we're gonna hold it down and do what we do. Sam, what's good with you, my brother?
Not too much, like you said, it's St. Patty's Day. It's also Taco Tuesday, so it's like, how do you combat that? You know what I'm saying? Do you get like some carne asada and tell them to put some boiled cabbage on that bitch or something? Like, I was just thinking about that as you brought it up. I was like, man, how do you handle that? But nonetheless, as always, doing totally wonderful over here. I hope you're doing the same, brother.
Hey, bro, man. Look, you know how it is, man. It's family day when we get together on Tuesdays. It's like getting together for Sunday dinner, man. And I look forward to these Tuesday nights. For those of you who are slowly creeping in, man, it's really great to have you here. It's good to see you. Please make yourself comfortable. And like Sam says, be careful what you mix. The cabbage and the burrito, I don't know how that's going to mesh, but you will have a strange party going on in your system. But if you're going to do it here with us. We really appreciate it. And today is one of those days. It's ironic. Yeah, we definitely don't want those photos. We definitely don't want those. You can hold on to those for yourself. But it is Two Mics Up Live. We are here live from the DMV. And tonight's main subject, man, we're going to jump into a little fun about some Black Air Force energy. For those who are not familiar with the slang term, for those who may be a little wild or aggressive, maybe menacing demeanor, and just kind of disregard for rules and social norms. We're going to try to have a little fun with that as we intertwine some serious talk or some fun talk, like we always like to start at the top with our entertainment and sports segment. And with that being said, before we get started, I want to shout out this opening segment is being brought to you by our friends over at Tico Rico Hot Sauce. So stay tuned. Don't go anywhere as we shout them out. We'll be right back on the other side of this clip.
Unleash flavor with Tico Rico Hot Sauce, made from fresh, homegrown peppers for a vibrant taste. Enjoy the perfect blend of heat and zest with our habanero and refreshing Serrano lime sauces. Ideal for tacos, seafood, or salads, Tico Rico enhances any dish. Join the Tico Rico family today and elevate your meals with our award-winning sauces. Visit us online to grab your starter kit and discover the magic of Tico Rico.
All right, there you have it. Thank you to our friends over at Tico Rico Hot Sauce. And I'm going to pass the ball to my brother Sam as he guides us this evening in our entertainment and sports segment. Sam, what you got for us tonight?
Well, to go ahead and get things started, over the weekend we had the Oscars. Most notably, Ryan Coogler, he won Best Screenwriter for Sinners. On top of that, you also had Michael B. Jordan winning for Best Actor in a film. Sinners also broke the record because they had about like 15 nominations and everything. But they only came away with, I want to say, like 3 wins. And one of the most notable ones that a lot of people, there was that, I don't want to say controversy, but beforehand, it seemed as if Timothy Chalamet had the lead with Marty Supreme and all the buzz was around him. And there was kind of like that late blooming as far as, Michael B. Jordan picking up a little bit of steam for his role. Well, for his 2 roles, let's not just say one, but his 2 roles as Smoke and Stack. And I guess it's going to be kind of like a twofold question for you, Name. So my first question is, do you feel like there were any snubs or anything that kind of like stuck out during the Oscars? Did you watch the Oscars? I guess first and foremost.
So I watched some of it, and I think you kind of hit it on the head with Chalamet and that film of Marty Supreme. Now I watched Marty Supreme,
Okay.
and to be honest, I really wasn't impressed with the movie.
Okay.
And my wife, on the other hand, she actually enjoyed the movie. Me personally, I didn't feel the movie. I wasn't really moved by the movie. I mean, it had some funny moments and things like that. And I think just for them to be completely shut out, uh, I think it was like you said, 9 nominations total, and they
Mhm.
got totally shut out. To some, I think they felt that that was a snub. And I was like, well, if you look at the nominations, yes, but overall, the overall body of work to me wasn't that great. So I wasn't
Yeah.
surprised by that. I will say, uh, I haven't watched it yet, but it's actually on my watch list. Guillermo del Toro's Frankenstein, which I was
Yeah.
surprised. I've heard great reviews and great things about it. So, like I said, it's definitely on my list to watch. For him to get snubbed and that film to get snubbed, and if I'm going to be honest with you, Wicked, Ariana Grande, getting snubbed, as well. So I was kind of surprised. Uh, but again, like I said, when it came to the Marty Supreme, no shock to
Mhm.
me, no surprise to me. I thought the awards, for the most part, I know there was, you always have these things that overshadow the awards, with like, the situation with Tiana Taylor, some of, I guess, her interaction, and her over exuberance, I guess, if you will, because that's what I took it as, and some of the
Right.
scenes and shots that I saw of someone who was just really enjoying the moment,
Yeah.
and being in the moment. But of course, then you have those who kind of always are looking for, in my opinion, something negative to shine a light on. And it just so happened to be her, and I just thought it was unfair. But that was just my take on that portion. But you started off with Ryan Coogler and Michael B. Jordan. I mean, bro, like if we're being honest, like could we have ever really imagined such a magical, in my opinion, victory or win, or whatever you want to call it, for these two gentlemen in this incredible journey? When you look at, Kugler, I think, if I have to be honest, like his screenwriting kind of signifies that the Academy is really rewarding his narrative that is not only emotionally resonant, but architecturally sound in his work.
Yeah.
And I think he's finally getting the kudos for that. And a lot of his work is really very sophisticated and really has a lot of intellectual ambition as you really unfold his storylines. So I,
Yeah.
I want to give him kudos for that. And I mean, what do you say about Michael B. Jordan? I mean, hell, best actor. And I think for him, this really validates um his really sustained evolution. When you Glanville Station or Fruitville Station or whatever it
Fruitvale
was,
Station.
like,
Yeah.
yeah, when you go back and you look at all of his, works through Creed and, sent like this, his whole evolution, I think he's really being recognized now for the performer who he is, that's transitioned from being more charismatic, to really a dramatic powerhouse. And
Yeah.
that was my takeaway, from those two, man. But it was an incredible evening. And those of you who are joining us, thank you. And if you have any comments or anything that you want to share, please go ahead and drop them in the comments. But that's where I'm gonna walk away from it. I'm interested to hear, what you have to say, Sam.
Yeah, I mean, overall, I thought it was a good award show, even with Conan O'Brien being the host again.
Mhm,
Like, I
mhm.
think he hit it right on the money and everything. A couple of jokes fell flat, but I mean, that's
Yeah,
typical because it's the Oscars.
yeah.
So it's like you can only push the envelope so much.
Okay.
I
Mhm.
was a little bit, I guess you could say disappointed as far as like Delroy Lindo not winning Best Supporting Actor.
Mhm.
But then again, you look at like I think that category was kind of like top flight when it came to all the different actors that was involved in it. I also
Mhm.
wanted Sinners to win best film, but I guess that's just me being partially biased. I mean, it was a good film. I mean,
Right.
shoot, my son went and watched it like 7 times in the movie theater.
Oh, wow.
I'm trying to see what else. I did hear a little bit. I think leading up, like I was rooting for Michael B. Jordan, but there was so much buzz with Timothy Chalamet and
Mhm.
his role in Marty Supreme because you look at some of the other awards that he won, as far I think the Globes, the SAG, and it was one more I think that he won, and I was just like, and I think the only one that Michael B. Jordan won was the People's Choice, if I
Mhm.
remember correctly.
Yep.
So, it was kind of like it could have went either way with one of those
Mhm.
two, but I do like kind of that transition when just to have the both of them up there on that platform, so you do kind of see a changing of the guard when it comes to your
Right.
young actors, and can't really say Michael B. Jordan is young because shoot, he's damn near 40 now. But
Right.
still, when we look at previous as far as like your Denzels, your Will Smiths, you
Mhm.
know, we kind of have that changing of the guard. So
Yep.
that's really good to see. I like you, I do want to see Frankenstein.
Yep.
Because just the awards that they receive,
Mhm.
I was curious beforehand, but leading up to it, like, I want to watch it even more.
Right.
So
I agree.
overall, really good. You know, let's see what 2026 brings as far
Indeed.
as new films and everything.
Mhm.
Because right now it seems kind of the year ain't starting off that good when it comes to
No.
film. So
It's a little dry. It's a little dry. It's a little dry start.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So that's pretty much all I have for that. So congrats to
Okay.
all the winners.
Mhm.
Congrats to all the nominees and everything too. So
Yep.
moving right along. Oh man, bootleg John B. Jack Harlow. So for those who don't know, Jack Harlow is a rapper, turned singer
Mhm.
now. He done
Mhm.
came out with a sophomore album called Monica. And when he
Mhm.
was interviewed for his
This guy.
upcoming album, he stated that working on this project made him even more blacker.
Yeah.
Um, and I'm gonna be honest. For one, the reviews aren't that great. When it
Right.
comes to the album, it's
Right.
projected to be outside of the Billboard's 200. I think they're
Mhm.
averaging maybe w- like really soft sales. I want to say about like 27K, but of course that's not
Yeah.
including like streams and everything too.
Right.
Um, so kind of want to get your what's your take?
Bruh.
Well,
So
one, have you, do you know who
no.
Jack Harlow is? Okay,
Yes. Yes, I do.
okay,
But
okay.
no, I haven't uh really
Well,
dived in to the samples
I
that are
think
out there.
yeah, I think at this point it's like, do you even want to entertain this album right now? Like,
So when in prep for this,
uh-huh.
my thing was, should I really go and just really dive into samples that are out there and see? But I'll be honest with you, and some people can interpret this as a lot of different things. As an like you can interpret this as an artist trying to convey like a profound, his profound, I guess, artistic and spiritual education, if you will, right?
Yeah.
Working with someone, of Monica's status, who for some is a titan, and her career steeped in R&B, right? And that lineage of black southern musical soul. Now, I wanted to be nice, but it just keeps coming back to this blacker feeling that
Mhm.
I want to be really nice because it's just it's fucking clumsy, right? It's the the way he articulated is just clumsy, and you know are you trying to become more informed? Is that what you're saying? Because it didn't come across that way. It came across very ignorant, you
Yeah.
know, uh, and that's where I'm stuck. And now I really don't want to even be bothered because I think now, and Monica, and I can't speak for her, but I wouldn't want to have any type of contributor to my music that is speaking in this manner. And that's just me. Like looking as an artist, eh, you're not really fundamentally rooted, in my opinion, in black culture. It's like you're trying
Yeah.
to seep or steal the
Yeah.
black culture, right? That and that comment, that's what it makes me feel, right? And if
Yeah.
I'm gonna be honest, it was totally unwise and probably the worst thing that could have been said, in trying to promote, I guess, if that's what you want to say, this work. Blackness is not an aesthetic or an artistic award to be acquired anyway, right? In my
Yeah.
opinion, it's really something that we live. It's our identity, it's our history, it's our culture. So
Yeah.
it wasn't a real mature perspective to that he gave. And I couldn't collaborate with someone like that, trying to co-opt our language, for his betterment and for his identity. So I'm
Yeah.
really like, yo, like that whole thing, bro. Like, man, fuck all that. Like, for real.
Yeah. I don't see it as at first I thought it was like code switching because I was like, he's really trying to pull a Drake right now. You know what I'm saying? You go from
Good point.
the hip hop scene to like, well, let me put this R&B spin on it to see
Right.
if it generates any interest or buzz. But I don't think that he has. I really don't feel like he has the body of work to even try to
Agreed.
cross reference. And
Agreed.
then, like, secondly, I kind of feel like if he was to sit here and maybe like I wanted to embrace my inner JT or
Mm,
like
mm.
you know, I'm a big fan of John B, and I just wanted to bring back that '90s R&B flavor, something like that. But to sit here and just
Right.
be like, "Well, working on this album made me even more black," it's like, nah, bro. Like,
Nah, bro.
you still mayo flavor. Like, let's keep this clear. When it comes
For
to
real.
it, um, I tried to dabble in it. It's about like 9 tracks. The whole EP by itself is like 30 minutes, so
Hmm.
then it kind of has me reverting back to like I get it. Like I think we're kind of in a space when it comes to music. Like it's not about like let me orchestrate this story and give that to you. It's more or less like, hey, I have these quick bits, and like,
Hmm.
is this going to get picked up on TikTok? Is this going to get picked up on my reels on social media? So it
Right.
kind of reverts back to that. So it's going to be a hard pass for me, even though like he did do a couple of collabs with like Robert Glasper and everything, and I'm a huge Robert Glasper fan.
Hmm.
But it's just you know the
Yeah, me
how
too.
he tried to present his body of work leaves it kind of like flat on the table for me. So it's going to be a
Yeah,
no on my department.
I agree because I think too, like this listening, like your point in both perspectives. I think really the nutshell of it, the focus should have been really on the music itself. But now with
Yeah,
this, it's not really the work doesn't. I don't want to say the work doesn't feel respect, but it feels like it's being disrespected.
yeah,
And it's not really a genuine contribution to what R&B is. And like you just said, man, it's a hard pass for me. I like, yeah, kick rocks. We pack him up. I'm not doing it. Sorry, Monica.
um, last but not least, let's take a serious tone. Well, for me, there was two significant losses that we had. One last week and then another one over the weekend. So I
Mhm.
just wanted to give my condolences
Yeah.
to Lord Sear. Lord Sear was a DJ on Sirius XM on Shade
Mhm.
45. He was with the company for about a good 15 years. Before that,
Yeah.
it was Babito and I forgot the name of the other gentleman, but he was on a radio show. He was also Eminem's DJ. With
Okay.
that,
Yeah.
he was on
Mhm.
the All Out show for 5 years, and then for the past 10 years, or almost 10 years, he had his own Lord Sear show that
Mhm.
went from like 12 to 4.
Yep.
Um, he passed away at the age of 52.
Mm.
There was some really good tributes from Sway, um, uh, uh, Control Alt Destroy. His brother
Mhm.
Noel actually got on the airwaves. His
Yep.
producers John and Sam, they gave their respect to him as well too. And I want to say DJ Who Kid had
Yeah.
something for him over the weekend as well too. So you know, condolences go out to Lord Sear and his family right now.
Yep.
Also, we lost the legend, Kiki
Mm.
Sheffer, co-host of Showtime at the Apollo. She was the co-host from 19. It was a while. I want to say
Yeah.
19.
I think it was
87 to
80.
2002.
Two, yeah, man. She had a run. Yeah,
Yeah.
bro.
Yeah, so she was up there with Steve Harvey. I think that she was up there at the same time with Mark Curry. And
Mm-hmm.
even when I think they just did like the Apollo when it was almost like a Star Search type of ordeal where she
Yep.
actually like hosted it on her own.
Hosted. Yep.
Um,
I remember that.
she passed away as well too. And once again, there's she starred in like several movies. She starred in
Mm-hmm.
Mahogany. She was in The
Yep.
Wiz. She has a background in dancing, as far as like theater dance and the ballet and everything. And she was just such a pivotal role, when you
Yeah.
watch the Apollo.
Yep.
And once again, another legend. And I just want to give my condolences to her and her family at this time as well too. Anything that you want to add to that, Dane?
Man, look, I think you hit it on the head. Condolences to both of these greats in their own right. I think when I think of Lord Sear, you hit it on the head. His work in hip hop media, DJing for Eminem. But I just think he was an example of, for me, the culture and just raw unscripted energy. That really came across, listening to his show and watching him, grow, but be consistently that same unapologetic, unscripted energy. And I think, if we're going to be honest, for me, his legacy is tied to that authentic way that you know, he brought each and every day to the airwaves. Helping to create a platform that was really vital for hip hop. To continue to be the pulse and personality of our culture. So, again, like you said, uh, you know, condolences and prayers to his family. And Kiki Shepherd, man, you hit on. I mean, just the longevity of it all. And if I'm going to be honest, for me, the one thing that really stood out for me with, watching her, on the Apollo for that run, is just how she commanded, the stage, and she served really as that celebrated uh individual for black excellence each and every week on the Apollo. And she was just that force of talent, grace, and everything that you can imagine. Her showmanship was really a lasting part of our television history. So, those were the things that stand out for both of those individuals. And like you so gracefully said, we had two mics up here. Our families, we send out our condolences and prayers. And I hope that they're never forgotten. These two greats in their own right. So, um, yeah, I'm with you on that, man. We lost two phenomenal individuals over the last couple of weeks.
All right. All right. Well, I'll salute to that.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Oh, okay. Okay. All right. We're going to go ahead and switch over to a little bit of sports right now. Big talk right now is with the NFL and free agency that's going on right now. I know
Mm-hmm.
that we're in the midst of the NBA, in that hunt for the playoffs. But
Yeah.
let's talk a little NFL business. So,
Let's do it.
I guess my big thing is like, well, one, as a Packers fan, I'm hurt. All right, let's just be clear on that. I lost, I lost my who was in my heart, my number one quarterback, Malik Willis. He
Mm-hmm.
went down to
Mm-hmm.
Miami, and
Yep.
then we also lost Romeo Dobbs too.
Sure
He ended
did.
up getting signed to New England. Rashad
Yep.
Gary, he's taking a fit trip down to Dallas,
Yep.
but he should be all right because he's going to be with Gary Clark. We'll see how that
Mm-hmm.
goes. I just
Yep.
wanted to ask you, was there any? Oh yeah, and like everybody was excited about Max Crosby, and then the Ravens came over there and gave Max Crosby the boot. The next thing you know, they pick up Hendrickson from Cincinnati.
Yep.
So I guess my question for you, well, one, how's the outlook for the Giants right now? Like,
Mm.
is there any notable pickups or were there any releases that caught your eye? And then two, do
Mm.
you feel like are there any like notable pickups right now with free agency so far?
Wow. I mean, that's a great question. I mean, I'm going to start. before I get to my Giants, I'm going to start with I think what are a couple of winners, if you will, that kind of showed some discipline and really made some surgical strikes. And one of them you just talked about, the New England Patriots, getting just making moves that weren't desperate to me.
Yeah.
They just went to the Super Bowl. And they made some moves. They lost some of the bigger names, Stephon Diggs and things of that nature. But the moves that I've watched them make, they were focused really more on long term upside and positional value. And you hit it on the head. I think a lot of people overlook Dobbs, but I kind of see the logic where you got a guy on a long term contract and kind of short up at the same time. Their defense with veterans, like they got Kevin Byard that came over, pass rusher Draymond Jones, which I think was again, these are not a lot of household names, but if you know the sport, Byard has been around. He's been a hell of a safety for a long time. Draymond Jones has put up decent numbers. He's consistent. And I think that's what New England really looks for in the type of players that they're looking for. And really, I think Dobbs, for me, when I look at it, and when I didn't realize he's actually 7 years younger than Stephon Diggs. And he's
Yeah.
coming from a system where, you guys in Green Bay, you guys have really been stacked with wide receivers. And I know he's a little on the small side, and I'm not going to call him a number one option, but it gives Drake May another go-to guy that can make plays, whether it be on the short, quick routes or even going deep. He has that capability, and you're getting a guy that's younger. So I think that was a huge pickup. And well, those pickups really, to me, the ones that I just mentioned, I think those are huge pickups for them to continue on that trajectory that they've had over this last year. And I think this is something for them to build on. The other was, and I mentioned it last week. A lot of people, and we included, we feel like the Kansas City ride is over. I'm having a hard time right now saying that, only because, again, this is a team that made moves that are either high value signings that fill immediate needs, and they really secured some elite talent, in my opinion, without really mortgaging their future, or their financial health. And that's really what Kansas City really needed to do. They let McDuffie go, young talent on the defense, but they brought in Kenneth Walker. A lot of people can say what they want about him. He finally gave a full year, a reasonably healthy year. He was Super Bowl MVP, and they really brought him in for a 3-year deal that really worked. I think it works out to like $45 million. That's not a hell of a lot of money for a starting running back, considering that the 3 guys that they had last year, they were worse than the league in rushing, period. So I think this is a huge upgrade where you get a guy in his prime that can kind of come in now. They bring in Eric Bieniemy. Like I said, they're bringing him back into the fold. We know what that run game was like when he was there before. So it's like hitting the jackpot again, and I think really, when I look at Kansas City, they paid a reasonable rate for one of the league's top backs to fill a glaring hole for a Super Bowl contender, because the wheels really fell off last year. I think age hit them, and they're filling gaps with age and youth, and they're saving money. And I just think it was a smart move for them to go down the path that they've gone. So I look for them. I'm not going to say bounce back, but it's going to be a bounce back year for Kansas City, especially in the AFC, because I think there's some other teams that are a little questionable. Now, my Giants. So one, I will say, we're getting out of the junior Pee Wee league. We've got our NFL card back. We have made a ton of what I call competitive moves. We're bringing in competition. We're bringing in guys that have shown glimpses in other places. Pinnock, Mooney, Newsome. We got Scatterboo hopefully coming back. We hope to see Dart take that next step. We hope to see Malik Neighbors come back. We've made some moves on the line. 1 or 2 of our moves on the line. We could have let our tackle go. Damn, his name is slipping my mind, but he's terrible. Neil, we could have made some guys. We could have let him go. But I understand, looking at Harbaugh and what he's doing, I like the competition value that he's bringing in year one. So the more competition that you have at spots that you had glaring holes in, hopefully the cream will rise to the top. And if I'm being honest, we lost 6 games last year by a total, that we were leading in the fourth quarter. So that could have been 6 wins. So hopefully this year we'll be able to kind of rectify those fourth quarter collapses. We'll be competitive in tight games, and like every other team, just pray that injuries don't decimate us like so many other teams last year, and we can have a competitive squad and build on that for year 2. But I do like the competition that we're bringing in.
I got you. Yeah, there's you mentioned a lot of notables for the Giants, so I'm looking for them to keep, the NFC East a little bit spicy.
Mhm.
And even with that being said, you got to look at Philly. They had a couple of, losses as far as
Yep.
like personnel and Manning that decided to jump ship both offensively and defensively.
Mhm.
I think they lost like 2 O linemen that
Yep.
were pinnacle. Um, I'm
You don't
really
know
oh,
you
go
don't know
ahead.
what's gonna happen with AJ. You don't know what's gonna happen with AJ Brown still. I mean,
Yeah.
that's still up in the air. Uh,
Yeah, I think they're
you
gonna
know,
hang tight till around June-ish to make their decision on what they're gonna be
right.
doing with him. But I can see him gone from the team too, because he's just not gelling with everything that's going on. Um, I feel
But that
bad,
goes
I did. Oh, go ahead.
no, I was gonna say, but that goes to say the same thing for you guys in the
Yeah,
north. Like your change and what's going on around you, your changes and the things that you're making and the picks that the Green Bay is moving, you see them viably, challenging, and taking that next step in the north? Because I mean, the Bears are still making moves. Detroit is
yeah.
low
But
key
the
trying to
Bears
make
lost
moves.
DJ Moore. Detroit
Mm-hmm.
lost Montgomery. So there's like key components that gave Green Bay a headache.
Mm-hmm.
um that I think that, like, and I say it every doggone year, like, this is our year to seize on it, because I really
Mm-hmm.
feel like who knows what's going on with Minnesota. I think that they're still confused, and now they're in a weird QB carousel, even though they picked up Kyler Murray. I don't think that he's going to help out or have an impact the way that people think that he is.
Really?
And just, yeah, I mean, he's just going to be solid. Well, one, we just don't know about AJ McCarthy. That's the first thing. Like,
Good
here we
point.
go in year 3, and
Mm-hmm.
what's going to be his longevity? Because now, if you sit here and if he gets hurt this season, now we have a serious issue.
Yeah, you got a
You know
real
what I'm
problem.
saying?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's gonna be like the biggest thing right there. So I know that they're looking at a couple of defensive weapons. Offensively, I think that we're fine.
Yeah.
Josh Jacobs. I mean, just with the minus of Romeo Dobbs, I mean,
Mm-hmm.
it's always that next man up as far as the receiver core. Hopefully, this will be Xavier Worthy's like breakout year, since he didn't
Mm-hmm.
do too hot last season. So we'll see how everything stands. But, like, of course, I'm always gonna say that Green Bay is going to be the kings of the North, so that won't change. My only concern was when I was looking at everything. Yeah, plus, I think the increase of the cap space too. I think that that's going to be beneficial for some teams, not
Some
all,
teams, yeah. Yeah.
because I mean, shit. Look at Miami. Miami has so
Right.
much dead cap space with everyone that they lost, with
Jeez.
Tua, Waddle, the possibility.
Yeah.
It's rumors of Tariq Hill running around Green Bay
Yep.
up there this year.
Yep.
So that could
Yep.
be, I mean, not last year, but this week. So
Mm-hmm.
that could be a good addition. So there's a lot of variables that's there, but I think that they're going to be impacted the most, because it's not much you could do with all that dead weight,
Yep.
that they're
Yep.
holding on to, which was
Agreed.
still weird last year when they extended Tua. Like, they shouldn't have never gave him that just to let him go this year. Like, your
Right.
services are not needed.
Right.
So that's like super bizarre when it comes to that. Um, but yeah, that's about. I mean, I'm
Yep.
excited for it. Like you said, we'll see what happens during the draft. We'll see what happens
Mm-hmm.
come June, when we have
Mm-hmm.
the second half of the free agency. But
Yep.
my fingers are always crossed when it comes to doggone, you know, the Packers and what we do.
Yep.
I'm starting to sound like a doggone Cowboys fan right now. Like, this is our year.
Next year.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's like an
Next year.
emotional event. What else do we have to chop it up about? UFL. UFL starts in 2 weeks. Are
Yes,
you
sir.
excited?
I'm not gonna lie, man. I've become a UFL guy in the sense
Okay.
that the game is getting better, which I enjoy. And they have a lot of like these wacky rules. Like it's a great place to test things, if I'm being honest.
Yeah.
Like things that you wouldn't normally see in the NFL. But I think that they have some great new innovative rules. When you look at like one of them, I think I was reading is the 4th and 12 alternate possession option. So instead of
Yeah.
like a traditional onside kick in the fourth quarter, if your team is trailing, you can attempt a 4th and 12 from your own 28-yard line to keep the ball. I'm like
Mhm.
that's
Yep.
a different innovation that you don't see, and I think this rule is really viable, and it creates that drama, especially if it's a 17-12 or a seventeen
Yeah.
ten game, or say, you know what I'm saying, where
Mhm.
maybe your team just scored and you got momentum and you're trying to keep momentum. I think it allows teams to really use their offensive stars to kind of convert, and it makes, to me, I think, again, from an NFL standpoint too, though, it gives you a cleaner metric too, like if you're trying to evaluate talent. And I think that
Yeah.
that's another flip side that the UFL does bring, because it's really started to create a funnel for a lot of these
Yep.
guys into the NFL. So I
Mhm.
think this also kind of allows for that, which I think is great. And there was one other one. They have one where it's like the trick, two forward passes, I think what it is, like a trick thing where they allow a team to throw a second forward pass on a single play, provided that the
Mhm.
ball never crosses the line of scrimmage before the
Yeah.
second pass. So I think, like for me, like I think of controlled chaos. Like this is another way to kind of spice up the game, the traditional play or style of game, by kind of giving this chaos, and it really tests, like it'll test the defensive uh their discipline, and it
Mhm.
really shows like whether it be a quarterback's ability to extend a play or have a playmaker having
Yeah.
an extended chance to make a play. So for me, I'm excited about it. And like, if we're going to be honest, last year for me was the first year where, since the two leagues have merged, I think the Stallions have been like, from the USFL and the first year of the UFL, the dominant team. But last
Yeah.
year we saw the DC Defenders kind of step up to the plate and kind of dominate and kind of change the narrative. So I'm interested to see, with some of the teams being relocated and bringing back some of the old names from the
Mhm.
XFL and USFL, and just to really see how it plays out. And I'm looking forward to them actually expanding. I would like to see them expand to 10 or 12 teams
Yeah.
overall. I
Yeah.
think that's where they're at in this stage, but I enjoy watching the game itself. So and it gives us something to watch during the dead time, baseball and basketball, you got those playing games which nobody really cares about. It gives us something else to watch. So I look forward to
Yeah.
it. What's your take on it?
Well, a couple of other rule changes. You brought up a few. They're going to have 4-point field goals. So
Mm,
anything beyond the 60-yard line or anything 60
okay.
yards or more, it's going to be considered
Okay.
4 points. They said, "Fuck that to the tush push." Ain't going on in my
I
league.
love it. I love it.
1 foot.
I love
I
it.
think one is which brings you back to the college days is like 1 foot inbounds.
Mhm,
They're allowing this year. No punts
mhm.
past midfield. They did a couple of changes as far as like the overtime. So I think they're doing it more or less NFL style as far as the
Yeah,
attempts and everything. What else we got? Red zone penalties. They're reverting back to the OG, and
I like it.
then they're actually doing a coin toss. You did bring up
Mm,
the expansion team, so you got the Columbus Aviators, Louisville Kings, and Orlando
yeah,
Storm this year.
mhm.
I think for 26-27, they do want to move to a 10 to 12 man or 10 to
I
12
love it.
teams. But the
I love it.
long game is to kind of like stretch it out to that 16 to 32. So I guess the bigger
Mhm.
question is, I guess, what other markets, what other non-NFL markets, I guess we could say, we could sit there and toss in there. You know what I'm saying? I do like how, for instance, well, we brought up Louisville. I think,
Yeah,
Louisville's so dominant when it comes to basketball,
basketball. Yeah,
and just the state of Kentucky, because don't nobody follow the Wildcats,
Right.
during the SEC or anything.
Right.
So it's good that they have like some type of professional team, landing in that spot. Um, yeah, I think that'd be interesting. Orlando, because I think that there's a market in Florida for additional NFL teams,
I
but I
agree.
want to I think we need to see some of these like Midwest kind of like
Mm-hmm.
markets, kind of like open it up to them to give them something. I
Places
don't nobody give a
like
shit about Montana, but
but
maybe
again though,
have
they might like it though. I mean, there
yeah,
might be a market there for it. And like you said, I think you try to serve these underserved football
yeah,
communities where there are places that football is king because they really
mhm,
have nothing else. And I agree
yeah,
with you. You serve these markets, and I think you might find that you hit gold with
mhm,
people, showing up and showing out. Maybe take, look, arena football has done a great job, in a lot of these smaller cities or sub
yeah,
cities of larger markets. And I think, the UFL maybe should look at that model. I think it's a great model. And like, I just look at, like you said, I'm all for the expansion. I'm not saying they should do it overnight, but I think the way that the growth and the interest has been, I think they're really on
mhm,
to something, man. I really do. I'm really
yeah.
excited for it.
Yeah. I do like how you said, and I think we talked about it before, either last season or the season prior, like how this is kind of the new stepping stone as far as the developmental league. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
And hopefully
Mhm.
it can move to that, like maybe like baseball and farm
Yeah.
league and everything.
Yeah.
I hope that
Yep.
it reverts to that
Yep.
now they got sponsored by NFL teams. You draft
Mhm.
somebody, maybe they're not ready for, the bright
Right.
lights. So let's take them to the
The
UFL,
NFL.
let them
Yep.
develop a little bit, and
Yep.
then you can bring them up. Or
Yep.
even if I know we probably won't get like that intertwining,
Mhm.
but it would be cool to see like somebody gets UFL going on at the same time as the NFL, and somebody gets picked up because you got an injured player.
Yeah.
You know what I'm
There you
saying?
go. Yep.
So it
Yep.
it kind of works in that format. So I'm looking forward, kind of year two official of the
Mhm.
UFL to see, how we grow from there.
I agree.
And so here we are. Real quick, shout out to USA. They playing Venezuela in the World Baseball Classic. Just want to tie
Shout
that
out.
in there. Good luck
Yep.
to USA team.
Yep.
Um, and I wanted to talk about March Madness because it starts on
Ooh,
Thursday.
yeah.
And
Yeah, man.
historically, when everybody's filling out their brackets and they sit here and they start cussing everyone out, day one. um, I was just wondering if you had the opportunity to look at the current bracket and see what teams are out there.
Mhm.
And we
Mhm.
always get stuck with that 12-5. I
Yep.
think like when you look at everything, that 12-5 just becomes so detrimental. So I wonder if you had an opportunity to look at the actual bracket for this year, and if there are any notable 12-5 matchups that have you
Yeah.
like, this might not end well, for a
Yeah.
certain somebody, or
Yeah.
like any underdog period that's out there.
I can't lie, Sam. I did. And you bring it up. Very good point. Historically, the 12s have won over a third of these matchups since the field has expanded. Kind of all
Mhm.
this matchup serves like the perfect blend, in my opinion, of mid-major with an elite portable type skill. And you bring
Yeah.
it up because I did. I had my bracket, and I was filling it out. Now I did. There's two matchups that scream to me that opens up in this round. The
Okay.
first is the Akron Zips, number 12 team, taking on the
Mhm.
Texas Red Raiders, and I believe. Let me go look. Let me look. I just dropped it. That's in the that's down in the South. They open up in the South. And
Mhm.
to me, this is the quintessential trap game, and it's defined more by circumstance, I think, and a statistical mismatch that favors the underdog. And I'll tell you why. I kind of I don't watch college basketball as much as I used to, but I do this time of year. I do focus in tournaments and different things, so I watch a lot of tournament play. And when I look at Akron, they have a veteran coach, John Groce, who's been there, and he enters the tournament with one of the most explosive and efficient offenses in the country. The Zips actually rank, and I did my research. They rank in the top 15 nationally in both effective field goal percentage and 3-point percentage, which is huge in today's game. Now, they boast a senior guard, Tavari Johnson, who he's a proven scorer. He's a senior guard on top of that, which makes, to me, this time of year, makes a huge difference. And he's not only a scorer, he's a facilitator as well. So when you have all of that from a mid-major, especially in today's game, that's really dangerous because you got elite offense, a veteran backcourt, and I think they're always a threat, right now, especially this time of the year in March Madness. Now, when you flip the script and you look at the Red Raiders, they have really been unfortunate, or I guess this luck really changed after their star Toppin went down. Like with that ACL, that torn ACL, the Red Raiders have, originally they were one of the front runners, if we're going to be honest, early on in the season. But they've just been slumping since that injury, dropping 3 straight, heading into the tournament, which is not where you want to be. They're definitely less explosive, and they're just really less cohesive, when I watch them play now. So for me, I think Akron, just a high level of offensive efficiency, and really Texas Tech being vulnerable right now, bro. Like I just don't see it. Weakened by the injury of their star player. This game to me makes the perfect case of a 12-5 upset. This game, like to me, screams 12 versus 5 upset. Now the other one, this takes me back to my childhood. I'm a New Yorker. The other matchup is it's actually in the they're in the East. St. John's, my Red Storm coach, Patino back in the saddle again, taking on the number 12 Northern Iowa Panthers. Now, the reason why this game screams to me is because this is really a matchup of two opposite styles. When St. John's is clicking, they running up and down the court, fast pace, fast break, quick shots, rebounds, they getting it. Northern Iowa, they play at the slowest pace possible. Now, tempo in basketball, for those who watch basketball, I don't care on what level, tempo is usually, a huge and crucial part of the game. Now, usually in March, though, we watch these games, usually the team that can dictate the tempo and play to their strength is the team that's going to win. Now, St. John's has been horrible some games. I watched some games this year. Shit, they've been horrible. They just been ugly. It's like swimming out in the Anacostia. Like they're horrible. So that's what makes me a little nervous. Which St. John's team is going to show up, and which of these two teams are going to effectively put down their tempo and dictate the style of play. And to me, this right here is really a perfect setup for a number 12 to beat a number 5. So this would be the second one that I would look at. But I'm going to hold tight. My Johnnies is going to win it. Red Storm. And they're going to go ahead and get their first victory in Lord knows how long in the tournament. And Rick Pitino, man, he's still making moves. So those are my two. So curious to hear from you. Were there any two that you had that maybe we should pay attention to?
Well, it's like a game of spades. You have a whole bunch of possible, what I'm saying? But the one that kind of had my eye the most, and it's just kind of based off of like that 11-12 seed that's been making a lot of noise over the past couple of years. For me, it's going to be McNeese State versus Vanderbilt.
Another one. That's a good matchup. Yeah.
Just looking at, Vandy, I think they got eliminated like second round, I want to say, the SEC tournament.
Yeah.
And last year too. So that was a close one, but kind of like McNeese has been in that beast mode. I want to say they're like 28-5. So I just want to see, and this is just going to be like Miami, Ohio. Like, is the record going to articulate, what I'm saying, to the performance? But you can never count out McNeese. Tough group of guys that are gentlemen that get on the court, hands down. And I think they always, for me, every year that I see them play, they always play like there's, they got that chip on their shoulder. You know what I'm saying? And I think that this would be one of those pinnacle times that they actually step up. Now, I'm not telling y'all to fill out y'all brackets according to what I say, but I do have I don't know. It's just because all of this is just based off of hunches. You could look at the number 1 seeds and shoot, last year between the first and second round, it was like all kind of crazy unlimited. I don't think we had
Yeah,
any.
man.
Did we have any 1 seeds last year?
Nah, I think they all got
Yeah,
smashed.
I think everybody got watched that was a 1 seed last year. So I'm not saying that that's going to happen this year because you look at Duke, you look at Arizona. Arizona been beasting it. You got
Yep.
Bryce, James haven't even started yet.
Exactly. Exactly.
So they got room for growth. You got Duke with the Boozer brothers handling business over there. Michigan, you can't go away from them, and of course Florida.
Florida.
But like I said, my gut right now with that that 5 and that 12 seed, mine's is going to be Vandy and McNeese.
That's
it's
a good matchup.
Like I said, that's a good juggernaut right there. So I guess we'll just see what happens come Thursday because it's going to go down. There's some notable like 11 seed games. You got 11s and 16. So you got Texas and NC State. You got we were just talking about Miami, Ohio. They play against Southern Methodist. That's going to be tough. UMBC, they're going up against Howard. Shout out to Howard.
Shout out to Howard for real. And UMBC, like keep it real. Home team, like keep it real. Great matchup.
And then from my state, you got Prairie View as a 16 seed going up against Lehigh. So it's good to see. It's awesome to see your HBCUs get wrapped up in and that with your SMEAC and everything.
Right.
And I'm about to say we're about to get it on and popping between today and tomorrow, like March Madness.
Let's go. And look, we're gonna be coming back. We're gonna let the first couple of rounds go. We're gonna try to come back in about 2 weeks when we've dwindled this down to either the elite of the elite, or we're gonna come back. We're gonna have some upset stunners that we're gonna be talking about, and we're gonna carry on. We're gonna talk about March Madness. We're gonna talk about NFL bracketology. We're gonna do all of that. We're gonna just dive into a total sports episode. But right now we're gonna jump into the featured part of tonight's show. We're gonna be talking about Black Air Force Energy. I'm just going to just lighten it up really quick and really light. And I'm just going to throw out a couple of questions for Sam and I, just to kind of chop it up about because Black Air Force Energy, it comes, I guess, for some in a lot of different ways. It can show up sometimes out the blue. It can be provoked. Who knows? Sometimes bullying and different things, but it looks like this sometimes. What did the 5 fingers say to the face? And this guy.
Well,
this guy. I mean, come on, bro.
Oh, he went straight MMA. Yeah, he put him to sleep. Jeez.
Hold on. I mean, it can look like that. It can be like that sometimes.
Damn, we're Joe Rogan in DC when you need him, because
bro, they signed that dude to a contract. But I mean, it can look like that sometimes. Sometimes you just don't know who you messing with. But talking about these type of incidents, and I'm curious, just has there been a Black Air Force moment that you've actually experienced or seen in real life? Not saying it was you, maybe you were there, or was, I don't know, baby shower or cooker, because I know I had one, but I'm curious to ask you, has there been one that you've seen or experienced in real life?
Oh, so many of them. Where do I start? Not including myself, because you know my rules, so I keep it light. I'm like France, but okay. For the strict purposes of 2 mics up, I refuse to give any names. I'm just going to give the incident or the incident. So I was in the Army at the time. I was stationed, I guess I could say the location. I was stationed down at Bragg. And we had a 4-day weekend. And one of my homeboys, he actually came up here to VA, and he left his car with somebody. Man, try my best not to say their names. Anyway, so I get back. I think I was visiting my aunt in South Carolina. Get back up to Bragg, and when I got back to the barracks, everybody's like congregated out in the hallway, right? And I was trying to figure out. I was like, "Yo, what's happening and everything? Like, what's going on?" And they was like, "Yo, such and such came over there and let such and such borrow his whip." And then, he was just supposed to driving around like Fayetteville and all that stuff, keep it simple. But next thing you know, he drove all the way up to, I think, like New York, right? In another man's car to pick up his girl and bring her back to the barracks, right? So he got back because he came up here to VA with his girl and everything, came back down. And that could be a little bit muddled, but I see him out in the hallway too. And he had like one of those little naughty by nature, like baseball bat in his hand and shit. So I'm like, this is about to go super left, like, real quick. You know what I'm saying? So anyways, like I said, we out in the hallway, we going out in the quad, smoking a cigarette, drinking a beer, or whatever the case may be. But everybody's just waiting for, this individual to get back down. So time done passed. It had to be like 5, 6 o'clock, right, in the afternoon or in the evening and everything. So first person we see is this girl come in, and we like, oh shit, like it's about to go down, yeah. So next thing you know, this might just be a butt of Tim's moment because my man's had on Tim's and everything too. So, but next thing you know, old dude that had the whip, he came in, right? My man's didn't waste like no time. He came over there and like had his hands out, like, yo, what's up? You know what I'm saying? Had his hands out. Oh man, it did not in his favor. Like he got rocked so hard. And the way he slumped down, thank goodness it wasn't with the bat, because I don't want to sit here and say anything, but he slumped him. He like a one hitter quitter. And like he went to the ground, and then next thing you know, he's getting like Timberland stomped. And like people wanted to break up the fight. They was like, "No, we gotta break this shit up." We were like, "No, we gotta let this ride out." They grown men. But once we saw that pummeling a little bit too extreme, it was like, "Oh shit, we gotta run in." You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, break that up.
Give them a breather. And I mean, at the end of the day, just can't be taking advantage of people's stuff. And I get it. Like his girl was in line, but should have got a doggone Greyhound or some shit like that.
Right. I mean.
This was in the 90s. We had like pages. We didn't have like cell phones and all that stuff.
Right.
So it's kind of, it's a little bit more, it was challenging back then, but
it did it.
Yeah, I would have been hot too. I get somewhere, my ride ain't here. And then you find out that somebody went all the way up.
Okay.
Like states away, not next state.
Not the next state, right? States.
Yeah. Almost a hemisphere. You know what I'm saying? Like that's the issue that we have.
Right.
So,
right.
I mean, there's a whole bunch of notable ones, but like that one was like straight, you know what I'm saying? Like Black Air Force ones that's like laced up extra tight. You know what I'm saying? Like cutting off circulation at the ankles. Like that's how severe that was.
Yeah. Hey, look, I'll do my best because I have one. I'm gonna make it short. It was one of those things where it was summertime in New York. We were younger. It was hot. And someone was having a pool party. And we happened to go to said pool party. And this was one of those moments back in the day where, you better not step on nobody fresh ones. This was where beatdowns was bound to happen. And we happened to be at the pool party. My man, he was fresh to death, had his brand new joints on. And what happens? Somebody stepped on his brand new joints. And this individual at the time, love him dearly, but he was built different. Just at that time in life, just built different, mentally speaking, wasn't really much to play with, Okay, all right, baby Ariane, love your son. Okay.
Talking about Joe.
Okay. Well, hello.
I know who it is.
Okay, baby
that's Julie. What's going on? Yeah, that's that's the Twitch folks.
Okay. Well,
I was confused as hell too. Like, hey, look, don't worry. I was stumped too.
Hey,
I was like, hold on a minute.
yeah, I was like, okay, but we love you too, baby. Thank you
Yeah.
for tuning in and dropping a comment.
To my other son, I said hello, baby Maurice.
All right. So this gentleman, he was a bigger gentleman, Diesel back in the day. Some words were said and some expressions and some inflammatory verbiage was passed back and forth between gentlemen. And then next thing you know, sides start pulling up.
Mhm.
And his exact words was, if you don't effing clean these, you about to go swimming personally. And we like, what? You looking around. So this gentleman happens to swing on him. And as he swings and misses now, and this is my hand to the Lord, because I've never seen nothing like this. And I have people that were there that I know personally, we know personally, that can back this story up. This man decides to, as he swings, and he ducks through, the diving board is there. And this man bends down as he's ducking and rips up the diving board and turns and hits this man repeatedly with the diving board. I've never seen no shit like this in my life. True story. And I mean, beats this man as he's beating him. The diving board is breaking on his back and his head, and he's beating this man throughout this party until the diving board actually breaks, and then the rest of the dog pound, if you will, like you said, stomp somebody out. I think he's still buried in that backyard at that pool party. But it was one of those things where, and this was a time, like I said, this is when stepping on people's shoes, people get shot, stabbed. This was a regular. I shouldn't say it was a regular thing in New York, but this was at that time where this was even before what we even talking about, Black Air Force energy. But this just comes to mind. That was just the first story. I mean, I've been at barbecues where people have been mad about, they argue about who made the best macaroni and cheese. I watch, and you laugh because I think you were part of one the cook off and the sing or the dance off, which was hilarious.
I can't confirm nor deny.
Right, but at least nobody got beat up. Nobody got beat up though,
which is true.
We had nobody get stomped out, but that was one of those interesting type evenings that come to mind. And when you think about it, Sam, let me ask you, why does it always seem like it's the most calm looking individual that really has that worst pull-up energy? Like, the ones that they quiet until you say something sideways, and then suddenly, you remember that, oh shit, Jesus actually exists. Does that always seem to be the narrative? Many times when you have these situations?
For the most part, it's kind of like the ones that beat their chest the hardest are the ones that go down the hardest.
Yeah.
So, and don't get me wrong, because I know there's going to be a couple of people out there like, no, fuck that, man. I got hands. And it's like, all right, but, next man got hands too that you've been clowning, and, they've been quiet the whole time. It's the quiet ones, and it's those jokers that be smiling all the time.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, they smile to the point that you be thinking like, yeah, this motherfucker really crazy. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
We in dire times right now. Like, why you cheesing like this? But I don't know. It's maybe they feel like they don't have nothing to prove because everybody else is already looking at them like the underdog. So I guess it's like,
agree with that.
I kind of feel like that's kind of the persona. Like, now you bringing this out of me. Now I got to show you. Like, I didn't want to do this, but here we are. So I kind of think that you get in that mode. And like I said, I seen a lot of folks, man, that'll sit there, and even close friends, like they be barking, and then it comes time to, make sure that you can show that, when rent's due, you can pay up.
Right.
They're looking at everybody else for handouts. I have a couple of those scenarios too, but I mean, that's kind of like what I boil it down to. Like, is those low key ones. And when you think about Air Force Ones anyway, the Black Air Force Ones, you know what I'm saying? When you look at the B-2 and the F-35 and the B-52, they're stealth bombers. You know what I'm saying? They're painted all black, so you never know when they're coming. when 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 it comes time to drop them hammers, you know what I'm saying? You just gotta be prepared for it. So
yeah. Hey, look, I totally understand. Look, I wear mine daily. It's not it's not a mood. I don't know if it's a personality trait. And speaking of which, like personality traits, because you had brought up something, before, how someone's dressed sometimes, and I don't want to say that's a personality trait, but how we dress is part of our personality. And I'm curious then, like, are there any traits or garments that you see people wearing that automatically may scream to you that, oh, yeah, this motherfucker, he got Black Air Force energy, or she got it. Could it be, the person at Walmart at 2 o'clock in the morning with the bonnet on, or the brother that's still rocking that Bluetooth in his ear from 2009 or 10. You know what I'm saying? Like, is there anything that when you out and about that catches your attention? Like, yeah, this right here screams some Black Air Force energy.
I mean, like, you can't even say bonnets anymore. No disrespect to my queens out there, but they, it's a good portion that wear bonnets all the goddamn time.
Right.
And I don't have a problem with bonnets, but it's kind of decipher that. Like beforehand, you see a bonnet hop out a whip, that was your brawler right there. You know what I'm saying? You knew shit was about to go down as soon as they come over there, and like, everyone else quiet, but it's like, here come Dee Dee with the goddamn bonnet, and she about to wreck shop.
Yeah.
Or even like back in the day, like like cats that used to wear like hoodies and like big coats in the summertime.
Yeah,
You know what I'm saying?
yeah.
I consider that Air Force One energy, but like now we got, young kids that's out right now, like they wear hoodies in 132-degree weather. So I think it gets kind of muddled, like exactly who it's kind of hard nowadays. You know what I'm saying? To kind of decipher like who actually harnesses the power, of that Air Force One energy, and 3, like, RIP to 2 a.m. Walmart walks, because that used to be like so vital. You know what I'm saying? But it's like anybody could get it for any doggone reason. It's like, I don't know. It's the air is a little bit different now. Everyone, it's like the slightest things kind of sit here and turn people off to generate like, I want that smoke, but it's like, do you really, want that smoke? Oh, yeah. I will say one. Once again, shout out to my queens. All right. I don't mean no disrespect.
Uh-oh.
You know what I'm saying? But when I see TT come out with them goddamn shower shoes, them prison shower shoes, looking like she ready for the goddamn Royal Rumble. You know what I'm saying? There's some worn out Lulu, what is it?
Lululemon.
Lululemon. Yeah, them tired joggers. You know what I'm saying? That might be sagging in the back a little bit. I'm like, yeah, she gonna bring that smoke. You know what I'm saying? So that's what it is for guys. Like I said, if I see any dude with shoelaces, like I said, that got their shoes like in a stranglehold, you know what I'm saying? Like, they come to fight. Because they don't want to lose pair of J's. They will ruin a pair of Jordans in a heartbeat. You know what I'm saying? They got them extra tight because they want to make sure like their feet are firmly, like they got all balance. You know what I'm saying? So, that's another one that I'll be on the lookout for.
So, we gonna tie it in. We coming to the back end of the conversation, but I do want to ask. We started with sports and entertainment, and it makes me want to ask when we're talking about Black Air Force energy, right? What athlete, for you today? Go ahead. Go ahead. I don't even need to go.
No. Finish the question so everybody.
Okay. So what I'm asking is like, so what athlete right now kind of embodies the peak Black Air Force energy? On or off the court or field. To play who trash, get technicals, throw hands before the first quarters even over. Like, who do you identify?
Easy, Draymond Green.
Oh shit! We on the same page. He's that guy.
Draymond Green,
he's definitely that guy.
Like, without a shadow of a doubt, is Draymond Green. Draymond Green would get a foul during halftime when they should be in the locker going over plays and shit. And then next thing you know, he has like a technical and everything. You know, even in his and I think it was like okay at first, but I think as the years progressed, especially when it became like pinnacle, when Golden State kind of lost like that luster, before Clay departed. But like when they're trying to fight their way into the playoffs, and then next thing you know, here comes doggone Draymond. Come over here and try to like do a stone cold stunner on somebody. And that's his like 40th tech of the season. Now he's gone, for the home stretch of the goddamn season. You know what I'm saying? Like he's that guy. Like he don't care, so I would say him.
Yeah, I agree with that. That was definitely my number one. I think the two other people that kind of came to mind when I thought about it. So one being Dylan Brooks. He's really trying his best to emulate that Draymond-esque role. He's instigating and agitating before the game, during the game, after the game. Like he's really trying to become that guy. So he was one. And the other for me was Marshawn Lynch. He just had this. I mean, just this energy, man. He like, yo, I'm punch you. You punch me, I'm gonna punch you. I'm gonna punch you harder. Like he just had that energy. And I'm not saying that's who he was as a person, but he still, that Oakland hood, that street guy, and it came across in his style of physical play. And those were the other two that came to mind for me. But yeah, without question, Draymond is the pinnacle of Black Air Force energy that we see. And
honorable mention to Patrick Beverly.
Hey, Pat Bev was another one. When he was really in his bag and in his prime, the dude was a nuisance. He was an annoyance, and he really did everything to bring that energy to guys. Man, he get in your face. I mean, I've heard some stories about him, and I've seen some interviews where he would talk about things. So yes, definitely, we got to give him an honorable mention. And as we come to the end of this, I want to ask one final question for you, Sam. Like for you, because we do a lot of social media here. What's the most Black Air Force moment that you can think of maybe in social media? What it could have been a viral Twitter clapback, Instagram live going wrong, or a celebrity meltdown that had the whole timeline kind of like saying, nah, man, they wilding out. This shit crazy.
Dang. And social that's damn. What was it? The Mississippi Riverboat incident.
Oh, yes. Well, they was handing out chairs.
Hey, look.
Yeah, that was a great one.
I saw a whole bunch of ushers. You know what I'm saying? Because they were telling everybody to have several seats. Look, when my man came over there and took that doggone hat, and he just flipped that bitch up in the air, and it was like it is go time. Like
he was like,
I felt like, hey, look, that was like the Thundercat symbol.
That was, son. That was classic, bro. I was
it just happened out the blue, like so bad. It like you can't write any more of a script. You know what I'm saying? Than what was displayed right there.
Yeah.
And I mean, it will forever be, what I'm saying, in the history books.
Forever. I think that was the first one, and I agree. That one popped into my mind, in my head, automatically. And the only other one, and I don't even know if this counts, but it because of who it was Solange and Jay-Z in the elevator situation and all the memes that kind of came out of. And I don't know if that really counts, but that was like the only other thing like on that level or social media level when it happened. I want to say that was what 2015, 2016.
Yeah, it was about 10 years ago or so.
Yeah, and and there was one other one which happened. Damn, it happened right. Cat Williams with the little boy that put hands
Oh
on
yeah.
and basically beat the shit out of him. Those were the
Mhm.
only other two that I could really think of, that were really moments that really kind of left it was a whole meltdown. They were all situations, but the riverboat one, definitely by far number one. And look, ladies and gentlemen, we just had a little fun here tonight. Hope you enjoyed. Whether you're here live, thank you for those of you I see in the background. Thank you for being here. And if you watch this on the playback, let us know, or even on our reels, let us know, what your thoughts are, and what your comments are. If you have any favorite moments, just drop them in the comments. And I thank you all. Last week, the week before, we had over 10,000 views on our reels, and I thank you all. And this week again, we are approaching another 10,000 views on our reels. So thank you. Continue to watch and support. I love the comments that you guys are dropping in response to our reels and the questions that we ask. So thank you. We really appreciate the support. Continue supporting. If you haven't subscribed already, make sure you go ahead and you subscribe to the channel, here on YouTube. We really appreciate it. And you can also subscribe to Two Mics Up online, IG, Facebook, X. You can hit me on LinkedIn. You could hit Sam as well. And I'm going to allow Sam to take a moment. If you want to follow Sam, please go ahead and follow him as well. But we're going to get out of here in a minute. But before we go, like we always do, Sam, I want to give you a moment to share any news or anything that you have coming up, or anything that we can look forward to seeing from you in the near future.
You know me, I don't have much popping. What I was about to say, Crimson Desert, that's a new game that's dropping this week. So I will be going live on that a little bit. Other than that, like I said, if you see me around and if you're an avid gamer like myself, come and join me, Osarge Gaming, or all my handles. And see you on the sticks.
Well, there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. You heard it. From Sarge, you can go ahead and follow him online at Osarge Gaming everywhere. He's a brother and a 25-year vet. We thank him for his service for us to allow us to do what we do each and every week. He's an avid gamer, cook. And he's my brother, co-host here on Two Mics Up. Really appreciate what he brings to the show each and every week. So make sure you go ahead and you check him out. Give him a shout and show some love. And our other brother, who is in Vegas right now, handling business and everything, and doing what he does best. Clifton Durham with TD3 Insurance. He should be back with us next week, but you can check Cliff out at on Instagram at TD3 Agency Insurance. He is the founder of TD3 Insurance. He's a mentor. He's a community leader. Again, he is also our brother and co-host here at Two Mics Up. And if you're looking to talk insurance or just talk business, reach out to Cliff, man. He's doing great things in the community. And, I'm going to, close out, today's show. Not really with much other than, we're getting ready for spring and we're looking to start anew. So hopefully, you start anew, by joining us here, Two Mics Up, every Tuesday night, 8 p.m. We try to bring a little fun, a little sports and entertainment talk, and just a good time, just to break up the monotony of life and what we're all dealing with each and every day. So I appreciate you all tuning in like you do. And like we do at the end of each and every show, I want to leave you all with a couple of things. May you all stay safe, stay blessed. Mike's out.
007.